Got a special guest today. I haven't seen this guy in a while. Who's there? Is this Tracker?
Wanna. I'm back. I'm back after a long hiatus of just being curled up in a ball from the stupid market and how it broke my bank accounts and all my charts. And it took me a while to finally sort of come around and uh, face fixing it all. And so here I am. I'm back to fix it for myself and maybe help you guys do some repair too. But yeah, I'm glad to be back. I
Yeah,
miss
good.
I miss you guys.
It's good to have you back.
Thanks. But we
And
were talking about. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, go ahead. No, go you.
I was going to say we were talking about the. Well, we're not going to do a Triumvirate show tonight because Cat's on vacation. He's on a cruise in Asia, and so it's just not like I was telling Matt. We're like the three ghosts of Christmas from the Christmas Carol, right? Cat is the ghost of Christmas past. He's really good at looking at past history stuff. Matt's the ghost of Christmas future. He can see far out into the future, and I'm like the ghost of Christmas present. And without Cat, like we're kind of miss an important component of the show. And when Matt and I do it, it's just like it's the same thing as the morning show. It's like be like a longer version of the morning show. So I think Kat and Matt do like the best, or do like a really great show together, and like obviously the best is when the three of us are together. But I don't think we're gonna just do like a longer version of the morning show tonight. But I think it was Kat back next week, maybe. Maybe we'll do it Tuesday next week. In
Yeah,
any
he might be
case,
gone for two. He might be gone for 2 weeks. I'm not sure yet, but we'll find out soon enough.
we're all like we strongly think that the bottom is in, but at the same time, we're all still gun shy from everything that's happened, and I'm still a little gun shy. Like I'm starting to redraw my charts, but if anything makes a new lower low, then it invalidates it all, and I have to like look to see, could it drop farther and whatnot. But that aside, Matt's going to tell you that he doesn't see it dropping farther. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah. So let's take a look here at the SPY first, and yeah, it got really close to resistance yesterday. We can see that the 1.414 fib up there, 548, and the baseline right there at 547. This is just your resistance zone. So we almost got there and not quite. So it is getting rejected a little bit. So I did mention yesterday that since the volatility index is still kind of high, it's still above 30, that we could still see a big giant range, and that could even be back test the 523 below, or even a little bit lower down to the 100-week moving average again. So even though these lows possibly might be in, we still could see some retracing with some bigger percentages dropping below. So I think what is important to watch here is how price behaves if it does go back down there, or if price can actually break above this 548.25 and then flip it back to support. Then it'll be exciting. But until then, I'm just a little bit watching this market, not really trusting it too much until we get some kind of confirmation that it wants to break out. And so far, we don't really have that. Right? We kind of just had like a mean reversion back up here, like we thought was going to happen, but now it's time to prove it really wants to break this level. So far, it's just in a big range. So let's see how it plays out. And QQQ also got rejected exactly off of that 465. It went to 465.05, 465.03 was that 1.272. So rejection there off of resistance. So does that mean it's going to come back down to the 100, maybe 440? That is a possibility to retest that as well. So again, I was cautious yesterday at resistance, and for a good reason, because usually things don't just break through those important fibs the first time once they break below them. So I am watching a little bit lower. Let's see how price does react there. And the IWM, we can see that it almost got back up to the 189 up here, but not quite. So we're still in the same range as last week as well, between 178.24 and 189. So everything yesterday got closer to resistance than support. That's kind of why we saw things kind of slow down throughout the day, right? They didn't really go higher throughout the day. They kind of got rejected and went lower a little bit, lower, lower, lower. And now even pre-market, we're going lower as well because of that rejection. So I think what we're going to see now is just more range bound until there's proof it can break to the upside.
Yeah, and keep in mind it's the in the United States it's the Easter week, and we've got a short trading week. There's no trading on Friday, and there's a lot of options expiring this week. And you look at the narrative from last week's candle there, and everyone's going to feel a lot more bullish. A lot of calls are bought, and so this week they might try to run it back down by the end of the week, and then maybe up next week if that's what's going to do.
Yeah.
If it's not going to be more fear. So yeah, just be cautious. They probably did. They probably popped it up at the beginning of the week, and then it could run flat or just start to decline towards the end of the week. And I remember Real Blonde Broker was saying last weekend that that's what she was kind of looking for. She thought maybe this week could be sort of end up an overall down week.
Yeah,
So
I mean, usually when you have a big retrace back to resistance, you kind of do have like a down week. So I'm kind of seeing that too. I can jump into Bitcoin too, just to
oh, wait,
show
let me just say real
everybody.
quick.
Yeah.
Benny says it is tax day in the United States, so hopefully you've either filed your return or you filed your extension. There you go.
Yeah, you got to, if you're mailing it in, you got to postmark it by today, right? Which is antiquated. But yeah, so let's go to. Okay, let's go to Bitcoin just to take a look at what's going on here. So it's the 1.272. It closed the week above yesterday, or like 2 days ago on Sunday. And now we had continuation to the upside. So this is the good development for Bitcoin actually breaking back above. And that's what I want to see the indices do. I want to see them break back above their resistance and continue the journey higher too. But so far, they are not doing that. Only Bitcoin is really doing that. And now it has room to even go up to the 87, 88,000 zone to see if it can break back above. But the level I really want to see break above is this 1.414, the 91,158. And once it's back above that again, then I'll be a lot more excited for Bitcoin. But until then, it's still just a bigger range. And it is a little bit closer down to support around the 83.5 than it is resistance. So good developments here, but it has to prove that it really wants to go higher as well.
Oh yeah, a dream would be to see it go up to the 1618, and then like the last thing it does is run all the way back to the 141, and then back up to the 1618 and break out.
Yeah, that would be ideal.
That would be ideal. But we're still under that 141 right now.
You got a Bitcoin or SPY or any kind of chart?
Yeah. Let me show this Bitcoin chart that I was showing you just before the show. Here's like a 4-hour chart. I guess I could make it 8-hour, but basically, I love to do these triangles. And so from the all-time high of 109,356, it kind of like it gave us a trend line right here, this peak, and then right here on January 30th at 106,447. If you draw a line right through there, you get this top trend line. And then it ran all the way down here. And then this was the bottom for a while. It runs up, and then it runs back down again. And then a lot of people were watching sort of basically this trend for a very long time. Maybe like right here, right here. I've got this dashed line and sort of cutting through these wicks. And then, right to here, to this point here on them. March 24th. Anyway, so we were stuck under this dash trend line for a very long time, ever since March 24th. Got this little escape wick, then went back down. And then over the weekend, we got all excited because it was over this dash trend line. But then if I go back and then just put this back to these original 2 top wicks, yesterday we finally got above this trend line right here. So, and it's still just a little hint. So I'm going to be watching Bitcoin very carefully on my 4-hour chart. Right here, this Ichimoku conversion line should stay support. If it breaks through there, I'll be very cautious. I might, if it starts to, and then breaks below the baseline here, and if it starts going between the baseline and the 75 moving average, I'll probably sell my positions and just wait for a breakout, because if it starts doing back and forth between the orange and the brown here, it might do more support testing lower. I don't want to experience that again. But otherwise, right now it looks really bullish. That's it. That's all I got to say about Bitcoin. Uh, you can see there's a bunch of sell order blocks above here, like between now and 88,800, and then the buy order everyone wants to buy down here around 84,477, and a couple places below. There you go, Bitcoin. Uh,
All right, let me jump on to. Before I do some of the requests, I'll do Tesla first because
okay,
we haven't done that one together in a while. So
we have not.
Tesla still is holding the symmetrical support here of the angle of the arc, and also it's still been maintaining that 100-week and 200-week moving average at 249. They're basically almost at the exact same price right now. 249.35, 249.26, and it is above it pre-market. I know a lot of people I see on X are calling for a lot lower, but so far support is holding, and if this trend continues, then I think it'll be okay. The question for me is it going to just explode and maintain the cloud out of there, or is it just going to respect more of this angle and just go slowly through time out of there and then go under the cloud for a while and then try to escape, so that's going to be the question for me. How fast does this want to recover, or how slow it wants to recover? So I'll be watching that in the future, but as long as it keeps maintaining this angle here, I think that's all I care about. And many times it has closed below it while maintaining it. Like every time it goes below it, it kind of gravitates back to it. Every time it goes above it, it gravitates back to it. So I think this could be a very well respected angle, and I'm not too concerned about it breaking down at the moment. So I'm going to be watching that for sure. So that is right around like the high 240s. Maybe the angle this week is around 244. So in the weeks to come, it'll be higher and higher and higher. So I don't really expect that to break down, especially after back testing the cloud down there. I think things can continue to consolidate here until it's ready to go higher.
Yeah, I just my memory of the options market for Tesla is sort of the same thing. Like the going forward here each week, the max pain on options is over 250. So yeah, I think well we were. I think the bottom. I think all the fear for Tesla was already priced in with that run, that deep run all the way down to 214.25 was the low we got. I don't think it's going to go lower than that. You can sort of see this channel that Tesla's been in ever since the 488.54 top, and when it dove under the channel and then back into it, and this becomes the channel. A lot of times when something dives out of the channel, the next thing it does is break out over the top of the channel, and here it went under a lot, so I'm expecting it to go over a lot. And so this is the point where you want to see it break out of the channel, or it ought to anyway. It's not even really arguing it yet this week. It won't be until we get to like the 260s, the high 258s in the coming weeks that it'll actually get close to this trend. So this trend line to the top of the channel is what I'm really interested in seeing it break out of. In the meantime, just kind of going under it. And you can see on this 8-hour Ichimoku chart, it could just go under the cloud here as resistance too. So I don't know. We'll see if it takes Matt's high road and goes over the weekly cloud, or the low road where it just kind of goes sideways and then gets stuck under the weekly cloud for a while. But that's kind of it. You can see the pivot points we've got. The monthly pivot for the rest of the month is 258.51. At the beginning of the month, it looked like it was going to break out, but no, it just stayed in the channel and fell right back down again. And then a second time was also rejected. And so we're just still stuck under the monthly pivot at 258.51, and could be all the way until after Monday, April 21st. So there you go. There's my Tesla for now. And then, my long thesis is it's still much higher. I'm still looking for, with this being the wave 3, subwave 1, subwave 2, my subwave 5 of 3, all of 3. So this is like wave 3 1, wave 3 2, wave 3. This is all wave 3 actually right here, and all wave 4. So 642.35 would still be the 1382, even if it was more subdued. 585 for the 123.6. And no, I don't know when this is going to happen, but so far it kind of feels like the end of the year when I was looking for it to happen in the middle of the year. But with this push, I was predicting 711 when we were still way up here and it looked like we were doing this, but we're not doing that anymore. So now it looks like it might be the end of the year for the 642.35 now.
All right, very good.
All right. Anything else you want to hit, Matt?
Yeah, I have
for the request.
I have that SRPT, and I was actually looking at that yesterday in my Patreon. And this was a perfect example of a big rejection at that previous high, the 163.50, kind of like a quadruple top or whatever. And then price just collapsed and it broke through the cloud. This is a monthly chart too, by the way. That broke through the cloud, broke through the 886, and then it never really closed below this 786, but it did last month. And whenever you see a big bearish engulfing candle that cuts through multiple levels, you can see it never really closed below until that time. And so that was a warning sign to go lower. And sure enough, that's exactly what we're seeing now, even cutting through the 200-month moving average. And so I think probably it's going to continue its journey lower. Can it come back up and maybe retest the 200-month, maybe around $60? Yeah, I think it possibly can. But I think there's a lot of damage done to this chart. It is going lower than before. And anytime you make a lower low on a higher time frame, that does indicate lower levels. So I think what we're probably looking at for this is maybe 47 again, and maybe even back down to the 618 again around 33. So a lot of damage to this chart, something that was kind of foreshadowing, because it can never break this one level, right? This one level that was set right back here in 2000. In February of 2000, it never could break above it. So that was the warning sign to get out if you were in it. And boom, collapse. So there we are.
Very cool. Thanks, Matt. I just want to answer Benny's question. He says, so June $710 is out of the equation now then for Tesla. It's not impossible, but it's just way, way less likely. Like it looked really good for it when that trend was on that vector up. But now it just, like I said all the time, the market finds ways of delaying things. We could see a crazy spike up, but it would take price way out of the Bollinger Band, the upper Bollinger Band for Tesla now. So even if it did hit 710 on June or in July, it'd just be a wick and be like tossed right back under it again. We get some more penalties for going outside the Bollinger Band. So I wouldn't count on it. No, less likely now.
All right. Shall we continue?
Should I do AMD?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we'll continue. Let's see. I think I included AMD the other day. Yeah, here's my AMD chart. Let's look at it from the weekly perspective for a second here. So yeah, it based on the way it looks, like I had this as a 1-2, and it still kind of is. This is like a wave 1, wave 2. Then it started what I thought was going to be like a nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but instead it kind of got knocked down to a wider flat of this wave 2. It came almost all the way back to the 54, 57, but obviously it stayed higher than that. But still bullish, quite bullish. But now I just have to look at it as it failed to do the wave 3, fell back over, and now it gets to start all over again. So I'm watching the next levels based on from 54, 57 up to the all-time high to 27.30, back to 76.30 or $76, and then this 1-2. So my 382, the very conservative, just the next fib extension that it should get to, at least 382, is 141, about $142 is what I'm looking for. And so that's a really good, from where price closed yesterday, that's 51% higher to get to the wave 1. And that just, is a mean reversion back to the moving average 75 moving through here. So yeah, I'm looking for $142, then back to retest $117. And then after that, it should just start to rip up higher, about 289. Anyway, so there you go. That's pretty much it. And then AMD tops out somewhere between 421 and 462. But that's so far in the future, you probably don't even want to think about it right now. The thing you do want to think about is between where we are now, 51% higher, just to get to $142 and test out this 38.2% fib extension. And you can see that the weekly cloud does support just testing back up to here. It's right there if it goes straight up from, what is that date? So that's like June 30th, end of June. All right, that's AMD.
All right, I got elf, eyes, lips, face. So
Elf beauty, yeah.
elf is it done being beaten up? Well, it's at a level where it needs to start bouncing. Here's another monthly chart look at elf, and it did nail a lot of support right now, right? It got the 100-month moving average. It got the 1.272 fib at 50.01, and it nailed the monthly cloud for the first time this month. So it is at some important level, because if this does not hold, then the risk of going back to retest the 2017, 2016 highs down here at 32, it's there, right? If this 1.272 fib at $50 does not hold, then the risk of going to the 30s is there. But I think we're at a point where we should start to see some kind of bounce, because there's a lot of confluence of support here. So I think at least coming back up maybe to the 62, maybe even back up to the angle is possible in the 70s before any kind of decision is made. So I think we can get a relief rally at least until it really decides if it wants to break down or maintain support and continue its journey higher. But a lot of damage has been done on the monthly chart, so it could take some time to get more bullish. But I think the important thing right now is just watch this $50 level here, and if that continues to hold, then I think we could see a bounce at least back towards the 60s or 70s above.
Yeah, let me talk about Elf Beauty again for a second too. Thanks, Matt. On the weekly chart as well, this whole thing, if it's going to be a bullish chart, then this whole thing forms a 1, 2, and wave 3, the minor wave 1. Again, a conservative run would be at least to this 38.2% fib extension, which is 147% higher than where the price is right now. So this is a really good risk-reward setup from here. You can see there's a big sell order block just under the 23.6% fib at $100, and you can kind of see why the weekly Ichimoku baseline is right up here it's almost exactly my fib at 23.6, or I'm sorry, $99.97. So yeah, if price gets above this Ichimoku conversion line, the blue conversion line here at $63.81, you can expect it to run up and test that. So yeah, even just 147% higher to get the 38.2, just to get to the resistance of the 23.6 fib is 87% higher. So again, this looks like a really good risk reward setup from here. I might even have to get back into it. There you go, Elf.
Okay, I have Ethereum next here. We'll take a look at Ethereum. So I've been watching the monthly charts on a lot of these. Throughout all this volatility, I typically like to take a look at a higher time frame, and Ethereum did hit important levels too. It also hit the 100-month moving average for the first time ever, and it also hit the bottom of the green arc here, and it is working on trying to get back above the 1691 now, the 382 fib. So I think we are at a point where we can hold levels, right? And hitting that 100-month moving average might have been the destination the whole time. And if you go look to the left, right, we can just draw a line through all of this previous wicks right here, right? We can see it was just really a retest of that 2023 support. Basically, it was support for the majority of 2023 before it took off. So now we back tested that zone with a lot of confluence of support with the ARC and the 100 week or 100-month moving average. So I think we're at a potential bottom here for Ethereum. And I did say back on March 11th that Ethereum probably did want to go to the 1300s before it goes higher. And now that it has done that, I think we can see that price has potential now to even go back above the 1691, and once it's back above there, then I think the 2000 mark would be next. So I think most of the bearishness is already priced in, and it's at a very important zone that it held. And essentially, let's just watch for weekly candles to see if it can actually close above the 1691. And so far, it's been rejected like for multiple weeks. So that's kind of an important zone to get back above right now.
Very cool. Thanks, Matt. I'm going to do my Palantir chart, and then Matt's going to show you his amazing Palantir chart. I'm also going to address Beatty Dip's question about how to get the whale indicator. So there are actually several different ones. This is the OG MCDX Plus by Turtle Trading. And you go to their website, turtletrading.com, or you can also just, in your trading view, go to the indicators and type in MCDX Plus. And there it is. It's this one here, KG MCDX Plus by KGIAP123. And it's by subscription. You can contact them by email, or I'm sorry, let's see. You just request the script. It's an invite-only script, and oh, here we go. He's got a link here to contact him directly as well. And if you mention that I referred you, he'll give you like $10 off a year for the subscription. There are some other MCDX pluses that are free. You can try them out. I haven't really compared them. I really had to do a comparison, but this is the original one right here. And then back to the Palantir chart, you can see that it has had really good whale participation. It's at 84%. Anything over 75% in the red whales and under 10% in the green for retail is very bullish. It's super bullish, actually. Over 50% red and 10% or less in retail is regular bullish. Over 75% is super bullish. And this chart really reflects it. This weekly Palantir chart, I mean, just look at where the Ichimoku cloud is. I think it touched it once here in August, on the August 5th of 2024, and hasn't touched it since. And it's just like way over. No, it's way over my moving average 75 of the weekly as well. And basically, it stayed over the baseline, conversion line, baseline, conversion line, broke the baseline, and now we're back over the baseline again. So, you know, this chart looks really good. From here, you know, at worst, it could test back to the baseline again, down here at 83.26. But if it gets back over the conversion line, then it's just up and away again. In any case, the way I see it from my Elliott waves, I'm looking for this 1382 next to 152.11, and then it's going to test back to the 100% for support at 127.59, which means 127.59 will be resistance at first. And so just from where price closed yesterday to that 100% fib extension resistance is 37% higher. So that's pretty nice. I've been in PTIR, the 2X ETF of Palantir, and that one's looking pretty good as well. 64% higher to the wave 3 top of Palantir. And then PTIR, my chart. I'm just conservative up to the 382. It's really funny. PTIR is actually more expensive per share than Palantir is. So it's I'm looking for $193, and right now it's at can't quite see, $151. So from where it closed yesterday, I'm looking for it to go up 29% here. Anyway, that's it for here. If it does the whole thing, then this one goes up 237% to the wave 3 top that belongs there. Anyway, that's it. That's my Palantir chart and PTIR. Maybe Matt wants to show you his now because his looks really pretty.
Yeah, we'll go check it out. And here it is. So, yeah, it is. It did get rejected yesterday at the conversion line. So that's kind of why we saw price sell off a little bit from there, from the open. And we can see that price has potential to go back further down, right? It can't even back test the baseline again around 83 or the arc again around 84. So it's not really clear sailing just yet. But the chart is looking more and more bullish. And I think eventually it will start to break out above the conversion and this 1.414 fib here. which is at 104.21. And once it's back above 104.21, then I think it's really going to go to the 1.618, the 157.62. So that'll be the next target after that. But yeah, the chart is super, super bullish, and it's always been bullish. Even with this huge open down, I was like, yeah, maybe it wants to retest the arc again, maybe not, but it still was maintaining the symmetry perfectly, and it just exploded higher, and there we are. So we're at a resistance point now, but it's still holding most levels of support. It's just got a few resistance levels above to break, but one of the most bullish charts out there in the stock market right now.
Yeah. I even say that April candle that goes up and down, like you say, market symmetry, it just oscillated. It just oscillated really hard around that 1.272 fib.
Yeah, it sure did.
Just the green candle just smack right centered over it. Arturo, I'm going to do hymns. Did you want Apple or APP? I can't. APPL doesn't register as
I think it's
stock for me.
So I think it's Apple. I got an Apple chart before. You can do it next.
Okay, you do
AAPL. So, yeah, Apple actually reclaimed a lot of support, and after back testing the previous 2021 high, 2022 high, like it even nailed the 200-week moving average perfectly. So now we're back inside of the cloud, right? And actually, we're at the very bottom of the cloud pre-market right here. So that's interesting to pay attention to. And I think this is kind of a crucial level to watch, right? Because losing this weekly cloud again would probably make this go down more. And it would probably make it go back down to retest the 180s again, maybe even the 170s again. So staying inside this cloud, staying at current price is kind of mandatory for a continuation higher. So that's really the only thing I'm watching for Apple, and this 1.272, the 203.28, but it's kind of the same zone. Essentially, stay inside the cloud. This has a chance, right? Break below the cloud on weekly candle closes, then you got to watch out below.
All right. It's really funny. Arturo said yes, APPL. He repeats it, but APPL is not a stock. So I'm guessing that Matt got it right. It was AAPL. Anyway, I'll do hymns for you here. Hymns off of 5 waves up to its all-time high of $32.98 forms a larger degree 1-2. So now we're in the third wave of that. And again, just conservatively, just to the 382, where you can see a big sell order block is waiting right there, would be $45.27, which is 61, almost 62% higher from where price, actually, it is 61% from where price closed yesterday. So that's a really good setup. Again, the 236 will be resistance at first, so just to get to where it gets a little hard, it might jump up at some point, almost 30% to $36.58, just below my cost basis. And then up to $45.27, back down to $36.58, and then it should take off from there to $96.09. I want to caution, if it gets more bullish, it could go, once it gets past the 236 and the 382, it could go to the 50% level, which is right where the top of this sell order block is waiting, or the 61.8 or the 764. 764 is the most bullish I usually see a stock get, and but I'm kind of looking at the market as being cautious, so I'm being cautious. That's why. Let's just start with the 382. So 45.27. If it goes higher than that, look for about $52 at the 50% fib extension, maybe it topping out. And if it goes past that, then look at these other fibs. I guess just take a screenshot of this and think about, each of these fibs being important, including 50%. I mean, I can see it with my head, but so you can see it. Oops, unlock. There, $52.30 of the 50% fib extension higher. So each of these fibs is going to be important going up. There you go, hymns.
Yeah, I see it wants to go back to the 30s too. I think it's ready now. Okay. Hymns is ready to go higher. All right, I'll do one more before I have to run away, and that'll be MSTR. And MSTR is back on the side of the bulls. And we can see that 287 was reclaimed. The conversion line down there, the green level again was reclaimed. And ultimately, I can see price. If Bitcoin cooperates, I can see price going back to the 340 resistance up here. And then it'll be decision time if it wants to break out above or if it wants to get rejected and retest some levels again. But it's looking like a more and more healthy chart. I think what we saw last week was simply wanted to touch the 50-week moving average, right? Because Bitcoin did it. Whoop. Bitcoin did it right here, right? It touched it last week. So yeah, MSTR wanted to do it as well. So that's why we saw that quick sell-off last week. And I think that pain is basically over with. And I think we're going to see some continuation to the upside. So 287, could it go back down there? Sure. If Bitcoin went back down to like 82, 83,000, then we could probably see a retest of that. But in the meantime, it's just in one big range. And I'm watching 340 for a break of resistance for a bullish continuation higher.
Very cool. I just want to show my MicroStrategy chart as well, and also read that Appreciates Life said in the chat that news this morning is that AMD will be making their newest chips in Arizona. So that's pretty cool. My MicroStrategy chart, I look at everything that it did from the beginning of time, or well, to its lowest low, to its highest high of 543, and then back to where it found support on February 24th at 225 as a 1, 2, and so now we're in wave 3. Wave 3 sub 1, again, the most conservative one would go to at least 38.2% fib is 429.30, which from where price closed yesterday is another 38% higher. And of course, it'll have some resistance at the 236 first at 351.22. And I just want to show you like how it can't really go faster than, I mean, typically it's not going to go faster than the Bollinger Band will allow it. And if it ever gets above the Bollinger Band, then, you know, it's probably going to wick and then close back below it at some point. So it might take a little time before it actually gets to this wave 1. It might have to have some more time for some expansion. So just do be careful of that. Let's yeah, look at the Bollinger Bands every now and then to check for a speed limit check, I guess you could say. But yeah, I see testing higher.
Do you want to do coin before we go? I think it's the last one anyways.
Oh, sure. Okay, yeah, I could be happy to. Coin is under its Ichimoku cloud, but fighting to get back into it. All of coin from the lowest low to the highest high, and the support we just hit gives me this 38.2% fib extension to 260.11, which yesterday is about 48% higher to the 382, to the first resistance level of 213.66, 21% higher just to there. But it should go, I mean, again, a good risk reward setup, at least 21% higher just for the bare minimum, and then 47% to get to where my wave 1 wave 3 sub 1 wave would start at least to there. Go ahead, Matt. Do you want to call it, or do you have coin?
No, I see coin going higher as well, but I think that's it for me for today. And actually, I think most of the stocks are looking pretty close to resistance zones, but a lot of crypto is breaking some resistance zones and heading a little bit to their next resistance zones. So I think we're just going to be watching those levels, and I'll be watching those levels, but I'm still a little bit cautious with all the volatility out there. But if resistance gets broken in stocks, then you'll see me a lot more excited. But until then, just a little bit cautious.
Yep. If you can get the sell order block thing, it's really cool. That one's free. Block. If you've got TradingView, just type in the word block. It's this order. It's the Lux Algo. Lux Algo did a ton of really good indicators. Lux Algo order block detector, and that's how I see where these sell order blocks are. Kat taught me about this one. All right, that's it for today, and we'll see you back here again tomorrow morning.
Yeah, see you guys. Have a good one.
Thanks so much, Matt. Everyone, cautious this week, and we'll see you tomorrow.
All right, thank you.